Hello guys, welcome back to Clinically Clear. So let's start straight away with water purification. See, water purification at small scale level and a large scale level is different. So let's start with small scale level. First, we have to disinfect the water. So physically simple, boil the water. There is something known as roll boiling, where for 10 to 20 minutes you will boil the water. The biggest advantage of roll boiling is it not only kills the bacteria, the cysts, the spores and all, but it also removes temporary hardness. In the previous video, I've covered how to remove hardness. Boiling is one of the best methods to remove temporary hardness. The only disadvantage, it is very inconvenient. Even though boiling is advised so much in the rural area, it is the most advised, but it is the least followed. So that is about boiling. Another method of physical disinfection is SODIS or solar disinfection, where in good quality plastic PET bottles, we'll keep them in sunlight. We'll keep the bottle filled with water exposed to sunlight. Direct sunlight exposure in the terrace, just 6 hours is enough for solar disinfection. Indirect sunlight, we need 2 to 3 days for solar disinfection. This is physical method, boiling and solar disinfection. Okay. Whereas chemical methods, most common method is chlorination. Chlorination, how does chlorination work? How to calculate, all that I've covered in the previous video. But in chlorination of wells, what extra I'll come to in this point. Basically, how do we calculate the volume of water in a well? Well, you'll have height, you'll have radius. So the volume of water is pi r square h by 4. And how you get the volume of water, then through that you can calculate using Horrocks apparatus the amount of bleaching powder required. Horrocks apparatus will tell you for 455 liter, for this much volume you can do unitary method and you can calculate. All this is done by a male multi-purpose worker. So the male multi-purpose worker will tell, okay, I need so and so amount of bleaching powder. Then will they just throw the bleaching powder in? No, you will mix it by something known as double pot method. Basically, you will put an inner pot in the well with mixture of the bleaching powder and sand and with an opening, and you have an outer pot with another opening to use the water to pump the water to pipeline it and then use it for domestic purposes. So what this does is this slowly releases the chlorine into the water in the inner well, so highly concentrated chlorine water, and then slowly dissipates into the outer well. So this lasts for a long time. For 2 to 3 weeks, this double pot method is enough, is sufficient. So that is why this double pot method is for chlorination, which is the most common method of disinfection for small scale, large scale, anywhere. Anywhere, chlorination is the most common method of water disinfection. Okay. Other ways is iodination. Iodination, we'll add 2 drops of 2% ethanol iodine in 1 liter of water. Or potassium permanganate, just a few drops of potassium permanganate in water. But potassium permanganate, very pungent odor and purple in color. Do you really want to drink purple colored water? No, right? So potassium permanganate iodination, not that preferred. Most preferred is chlorination. So physical disinfection, boiling solar, chemical disinfection, chlorination, mixed by double pot method, and iodination and potassium permanganate. Then membrane filters. So before, in the olden days, we've all seen those filters, those big long filters in old houses. Those are nothing but household filters. You have Pasteur Chamberlain filters, Katahdin filters, Breckfield filters, different named filters. They are still very common in rural areas in India, but in urban areas, you have more of RO filters, RO ultrafiltration or nanofiltration, that is more common now. The biggest advantage of RO is it removes all the bacteria and the impurities, and the taste of water is great. Mwah. Beautiful tasting water, no smell, no bad smell, nothing. The disadvantage of RO is we've all heard that it removes the minerals out of the water. It's not healthy anymore. And RO is expensive. It costs a lot. You have to maintain it. You have to, timely maintenance, call them, get it serviced. And there's a lot of water wastage. Those who've installed RO, they'll know that there's another second pipe where every time the RO turns on, some of the water leaks through that second pipe, which is totally wasted, which is, the impure water. So there's a lot of water wastage. Okay. That is the advantages and disadvantages of reverse osmosis. And reverse osmosis, 4 cylinders, extremely important. You have a sediment filter first, which removes the physical impurities. Sedimentation, sinking, physical, sand, dust, grit, sediment filter. Activated carbon filter, which removes the chemical impurities like chlorides. Then a gag filter, which removes bad taste and smell. A gag filter which removes bad taste and odor. An RO membrane filter, reverse osmosis membrane filter, ultra filtration, very small pores, 0.0001 mm. This is mm, 0.0001 mm. So it only allows the water molecules to pass through, not even bacteria, not even viruses, not even minerals, nothing will pass through. Only water passes through. So this is reverse osmosis. So membrane filtration, you have household filters, Pasteur Chamberlain, Katadin, Breckfield. RO filters for sediment, physical, activated carbon chemical, gag filter, bad taste and odor. RO membrane filter, small pores, only allows water to pass through. You also have some RO filters, they'll have, you've seen these ads, RO plus UV. UV radiation of 235 arcs, that also removes impurities like bacteria, viruses, etc. This is about small scale. Small scale, see, RO, one more big disadvantage of RO is you can't use it on a large scale. In this large amount of water, how will you do RO? It will get very expensive. So only on a household level, small scale level, this chlorine disinfection of wells, boiling, all household level. What about disinfection of water on a large scale? So large amount of water, not disinfection, purification. Purification of water in a large scale. So large scale water purification, first what we do is we store the water for ideally for 10 days, but minimum 5 to 7 days. What happens? Just this simple storage of water, the oxidizing bacteria, they will kill the bacteria, they'll reduce the bacterial load by 90%. So 90% of bacterial load reduced by just simple storage because of oxidizing bacteria for 5 to 7 days. Then comes filtration. Now filtration can be of two types, rapid sand filter and slow sand filter. First, let's look at rapid sand filter. Rapid sand filter basically from the river. Municipal supply is always from the river. Always water to the cities from rivers. Example, Kaveri water to Bengaluru, not to Tamil Nadu. Then from through the mesh, what happens? The water is pumped through the mesh, which removes all the grit. It removes all the physical impurities, the grit, etc. From there, it goes to the mixing chamber. In mixing chamber, we add about 5 to 100 mg per liter of alum. Alum is added in the mixing chamber. From there, it goes to the flocculation chamber, where you have turbines. These turbines churn up all the water and the alum and the impurities to form scum, solid scum, frothy solid scum. So once this flocculation is done, it goes to a sedimentation chamber, where we allow it to settle down over 2 to 6 hours. So sediment settles down. So this is the preliminary treatment. This preliminary treatment is only done for rapid sand filters, not for slow sand filters. Okay. And after sedimentation, we'll send it to rapid sand filtration. So what was it? Through the grit mesh, mixing 5 to 100 mg per liter of alum, then flocculation where it forms scum with the alum, and then sedimentation for 2 to 6 hours. Rapid sand filter, you will have a sand gravel bed. The sand bed should be about 1 to 1.5 meter in height. Okay, large container. Okay. Underneath, you will also have some air valves. And connected to the filtration tank, you will have a siphon tube. What is the purpose of the siphon tube? I'll tell. So, what happens? The water after sedimentation, it is placed over the sand filter. So, it can percolate through this filter in two ways. Either it is pushed, the water is pushed through, then it's known as a candy filter. If the water is pushed by gravity, just by gravity action, it is known as Patterson filter. Just a little extra point. Candy filter and Patterson filter. And once it percolates, filtered water, not purified, filtered water, disinfection by chlorination, send it for domestic supply. Understood? Now what happens? It is a filter. Filter paper, what does it do? It blocks everything. So eventually the filter paper will be covered with impurities. It will be blocked with impurities. Understood? So this siphon tube comes into the role here. See, if I have a U-shaped tube and I fill water here, so I keep filling water here and eventually stop. So the water level on both sides has to be the same, right? a U-shaped tube. So here also what happens if the filter is blocked? What happens? The water level in the filtration tank will be more than the water level in the siphon tube. So if the water level in the rapid sand filter is 6 to 8 feet above, not below, 6 to 8 feet above that of in the siphon tube, then it is something known as a loss of head. What is this loss of head term? Loss of head term indicates that the filter has been blocked by impurities. So then we need to do something known as backwashing. Backwashing is also only seen in rapid sand filters. Preliminary treatment also in rapid sand filter. What is backwashing? We open these air valves to let air in and push the impurities away. It clears the blockage. Okay, air valves are open, it clears the blockage. So what happens? But the problem with this backwashing is you have to do it frequently, and you have to do it. It is a difficult process. It is a skilled process, a very technical process. You know, how much air to let in, how long should I keep the air valves open. So this backwashing is done, but it is much more effective than, you know, going and manually scraping out all the impurities. So that is about rapid sand filter. Understood? Candy filter, push through. Patterson filter, gravity. Loss of head when it is blocked is 6 to 8 feet difference between filter level and siphon tube level. Understood? And what do? We do backwashing. We let air through the air valves to clear the blockage. That is about rapid sand filter. Slow sand filter, again a sand gravel bed of 1 to 1.5 meter. Here also you have a siphon tube for the same purpose, but slow sand filter. So the water stays in here for a very long time. When you have water and sand, gravel for a long time, what grows? Algae grows. So this algal layer on the sand filter, it is known as Schmutzdecke layer or Zuglial layer or vital layer or biological layer. Just remember one of them, Schmutzdecke layer. What it does is it algae, right? It oxidizes the impurities. So even better purification, even better filtration. So people might think, oh, this has so many steps, alum is there, all that. No, actually water is more pure in slow sand filter because of oxidizing algal layer. So how do I differentiate between rapid sand filter? Rapid sand filter, fast, everything happens fast, and more water it can hold, and it requires less space. So it actually, practically, if you think, rapid sand filter makes more sense. Slow sand filter, slow, for lesser water, and it requires a larger space. You know, you need to let the algae grow and stuff. But slow sand filter, 99.999% purity, whereas rapid sand filter only 99%. That is because slow sand filter has the algal layer for oxidizing impurities, and slow sand filter has smaller sand grains. The sand particles are only between 0.2 to 0.3, whereas rapid sand filter larger sand particles of 0.4 to 0.7. This is also an important point. So because of the Zuglial layer, algal layer, and you have the smaller sand particle size, so better purity, but not that practical. Lot of space is needed, all that. And preliminary treatment, as I told, only in rapid sand filter. The loss of head is also different. When do we say that the filter is blocked by impurities? For rapid sand filter, I told you 6 to 8 feet difference between filter water level and siphon tube water level. For slow sand filter, just a 4 feet difference indicates that it has been blocked. Backwashing, opening the air valves only in rapid sand filter. Slow sand filter, if there is a blockage, if there is loss of head, you have to go and manually scrape the impurities out. And this loss of head is measured by something known as Venturi meter. Simple, just a simple point. After filtration, you will go for disinfection. Now, disinfection most commonly through chlorination. You can also do ozonation. Most common always chlorination. Chlorination best. Chlorination I've explained in detail in the previous video. Ozonation, 2 parts per million of ozone for 20 minutes. Exposure, contact time 20 minutes, 2 ppm ozone. 100% oxidation. All the living organisms die, but no residual effect. Chlorine, 0.5 ppm of free residual chlorine remains in the water. Here there is absolutely no residual effect, and it is much more costly, very expensive. Similarly, membrane disinfection, where you have very small pores, small, less than 10 power minus 2, costly, expensive, and lot of water wastage is there when there is membrane disinfection. So membrane disinfection, ozonation. Ozonation is important. They can ask it as a 3-mark question. But most common method of fluorination, large scale, small scale, whatever it is, most common method of disinfection, chlorination. Okay, this is about large scale. Storage, filtration through rapid sand filter, slow sand filter. These differences are extremely important between rapid sand filter and slow sand filter. Backwashing in rapid sand filter, important. Loss of head, important term. Then disinfection, most commonly chlorination, but you also have ozonation, 2 ppm, 20 minutes. Now, UNICEF has something known as WASH, Water and Sanitation and Hygiene. This WASH initiative comes under the National Water and Sanitation Program. Okay, this says that for every 250 houses, there has to be one safe water source within 30-minute walk. 250 houses, one water source for all the 250 houses, it should be within 30-minute walk. And when there is no source of water within 1.5 kilometer, it takes about 30 minutes to walk 1.5 kilometer. No source within 1.5 kilometer. No groundwater above 1.5 meters. So even if I go, sorry, above 15 meters or 1.5 meters, I have to confirm. I'll confirm and let you know in the comment section. So no groundwater above a certain area, that is also some 1.5, 15. And if the water source is polluted or toxic, so then it becomes a problem village where water is not there in deserts. Immediately when water is not there, Africa will come to your mind. What is Africa in India? Gujarat, Rajasthan, the desert area. So problem villages. So these problem villages, to ensure water supply, there is something known as Swajal Dhara scheme. Swajal Dhara scheme, MCQ they can ask. Okay. Now, what is waterborne disease, water-based disease, water-related disease, water-wash disease? Waterborne disease, drinking contaminated water. Drinking contaminated water gives you the disease like typhoid, cholera. Water-based disease, just exposure to contaminated water. Even if I swim in that contaminated water, I might get leptospirosis or dracunculosis. I apologize for that spelling. Dracunculosis. Okay. Water related disease. The life cycle of that infectious agent or its vector requires water. Like malaria, dengue, filariasis. Basically, mosquito. Mosquito requires water, right? Water wash disease. By throwing water, you're curing the disease like scabies, dermatitis, trachoma. So, waterborne disease, drink it. Water-based disease, just exposure. Water-related disease, life cycle. And water wash disease, it is cured by water. That is it for water purification. It has been a long video, but very important topic. Thank you for watching.